Okay, so what I'd love to do is I'd like to break down Maha Bandha and Agnisara, and a variation of Vajrali, which is like the movement of the abdomen. So Maha Bandha, Agnisara, Vajrali, all of these pranayams, these practices are amazing kriyas, and they're from the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, which is the sacred text of Hatha Yoga practitioners. We're Hatha Yoga practitioners, meaning we practice yoga of the body. And the idea of this is by manipulating the abdomen and moving it around, we're stimulating our Agni, our digestive fire, as well as our spiritual fire. A couple things to note before we go into this is generally you want to do this on a fully empty stomach. You don't want to be digesting while you're going into this, or else your digestion will get a little bit funny. Other things to note is high or low blood pressure. This can be a little bit too much. And so if you feel faint or dizzy or anything, either hold the breath for less, or you can always explore creating the shapes while still breathing, okay? So I'll also walk us through that afterwards on the second one as I go through this. And then the last thing is traditionally when you're on the first couple days of your moon, it's not recommended to do these kinds of practices because they're very heating. And generally when we're on our moon, we've already got quite a bit of fire going, specifically in our pelvis. And this energy kind of draws our pranic body up. And when you're on your moon, the energy is generally going down. That being said, I feel like every person is different, and so you feel it out for yourself. I'll just tell you that's what happens traditionally, but everyone's cycles are so different. So you play with it and you kind of check in with your own integrity. Does that work for my body right now or not? And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And it does that regardless of whether or not you're on your moon, okay? So I'm going to stand back and just explain, and then I'm going to come in close to the camera so you can actually see what's happening in my abdomen. So feet are nice and wide, and we generally do these specific ones at the beginning of class, not at the end of class, and the reason being is that they're very, very stimulating. They create a lot of fire. That being said, Kumbhaka, the breath retention itself without necessarily the movement, can actually be very calming, so doing it at the end of practice is also a-okay, but generally the movements, these kinds of things, will create stimulation, so you don't want to do it too close towards Shavasana because we're trying to bring the nervous system into a rest and digest, not a moving and shaking. Okay, so I'll take a deep breath in my nose. I'm just going to explain it and just the dress rehearsal. As I exhale, I'm going to lean forward. Okay, I'm going to lean forward. I exhale everything out my mouth. Okay, my knees are softly bent. My hands are on my thighs, and then I don't inhale. I suck the abdomen in and up, and I slide my hands to my hip creases. And what's nice about applying the hands to hip creases, it creates suction, so it makes it easier to hug the abdomen in and up. And then you work towards straightening your arms. Your arms may or may not straighten. It's fine. And then you bring your chin softly towards the chest. So what this does is engage Mula Bandha, so pelvic floor, Uddiyana, the drawing in and up of the abdomen, Jalandhara, chin lock, chest to chin, chin to chest. And you hold the breath out to a point that's comfortable. When you're ready to inhale, bend the elbows first and then stand up. And if you ever feel dizzy, just squat down and touch the ground or sit down. Okay, that's telling you generally you're holding the breath for too long, or if you do it again and you don't hold it for long and you still feel dizzy, it's just not for you. Okay, and so that was the first one we did. And then the second one we did is we sucked the abdomen in and out without breath. And you can do that while breathing. So, yeah, I'll actually explain that later. One thing at a time, I get all excited, okay? And then the next round is essentially I'm going to draw circles with my pelvis and my shoulders, okay? And then the third or fourth round is I did the circles in the other direction, right? And then fifth is what we call the worm. So I'm essentially creating undulations up and down, okay? Generally, these are all what we call like first krama variations. Generally, like traditionally, you don't move your hips and your pelvis, you just move your abdomen, but that's very hard for most people. I still can't do it, and I've been doing this for 20 years. Yeah, traditionally you would just be staying still and your abdomen would be moving, but I find, at least my teachers have taught, like doing these undulations are great because you'll be creating that same stimulation, but it's a little bit easier to do. Okay, so I want to come in close so that you can see my abdomen. Let's see, I'm just looking at yeah, okay, I might actually just stand up on here. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to exhale everything out. Then I'm going to lift up. Relax the abdomen, relax the elbows, and then I stand up, okay? Then the next one, I'll just want to show it nice and close. I'm going to hug the belly in and up, okay? And it's not important how long you hold for. What's important is that you're holding to a point that you still feel ease in the body when you release, okay? I'll just do one of the undulations so you see what that looks like. Okay, so now I'm just going to do it back here so you can see it in its entirety in terms of what happens in the whole body. So I'll do the last undulation and then I'll do the worm, okay? Last one. Yeah, pretty fun. And so it should make you feel like you have quite a bit of energy. It's great to do. First thing in the morning is generally when you want to do it before you've eaten anything or put anything in your system. And again, you can create all those shapes and breathe as you're doing it if the holding of the breath doesn't work. Just ideally, you're not sucking the abdomen in and up if you're holding on the inhale, okay? So we only do Uddiyana Bandha, the sucking in and up of the abdomen, after the exhale when there's no breath in the lungs, so that there's a lot more space, okay? And so what you want to imagine is that you're taking your belly button and you're sucking it up towards the heart. You're essentially lifting all the organs up into the chest and then releasing them down. So it's it's wonderfully stimulating for your digestive tract, for your Agni, yeah?